Reggie is a super sweet dog who is willing to do whatever he needs to for his not-so-sweet owner, Doug. When Doug abandons Reggie, Reggie still believes it's all a game and wants to make his owner happy with his return. When Reggie meets a group of local dogs, they show him the great life of being a stray. But Reggie is still hurt by Doug's actions and decides to return home, just to bite his dick off. This is Strays. Strays is a new comedy movie in the subgenre of R-rated family movie subversions. And this time, the family movie being parodied are those cutesy talking animal, typically talking dog movies. It may sound like I made that up, but you have definitely seen this kind of comedy before. With films like Sausage Party and The Happy Time Murders, where their sole purpose is to parody films that are typically seen as family affairs, by obviously making them anything but. And Strays is the latest addition into this subgenre, and it's probably my favorite. It's got a really strong voice cast and is insanely funny, but most of all, it uses the idea that these characters are dogs to its fullest. Something the two previously mentioned films really didn't do with their respective gimmick. I'm gonna come right out the gate and say it. Will Ferrell has a great dog voice. Reggie just has such a sweet and naive demeanor whenever he talks. Even when he is supposed to come across as bitter and violent, there's still something so cute about his character. And so much of that, I think, has to do with Will Ferrell's great voice performance. The rest of the main pack of the film is also really strong too. Jamie Foxx, Isla Fisher, and Randall Park also play some really good dog characters, each of them having great personalities that bounce off of each other very well. And one of them even has a really sympathetic backstory. But when it comes to unsympathetic characters, boy, does this film have you covered. Rivaling The High Evolutionary as one of the biggest pricks in 2023 cinema is Doug, played by Will Forte. We might need to actually check in on Will Forte, because he played this character almost too well. The character of Doug is just so despicable. There is not a moment in this movie you are going to feel sorry for this character. You are going to want nothing more than for everything bad that can happen to this character. And Will Forte is just so good as this awful character. Like, you will watch this movie and you will believe that that guy played no one's favorite Shaggy. Now, as I mentioned, the other R-rated subversions of family media never really hit as hard as I really wanted them to. Those films just never utilized the gimmick, I felt, to their fullest potential. You got a bunch of cussing grocery store items or a bunch of cussing puppets. That's about as far as each of those gimmicks really go. Aside from maybe a few clever-ish jokes that were probably in the trailer. And this film treats the main characters of this film like exactly what they are. Dogs. The film makes use of plenty gross and harsher aspects of being a dog. What may be a nice, colorful fireworks show to us is a war zone to a dog. And I think that makes for some great comedy on a parody standpoint, because it's the kind of thing you just don't see in a traditional film like this. It kind of makes me want to see them do a sequel, but instead of dogs, they focus on cats. Because there are plenty of stereotypes around cats that I think would make for some great comedy too. Everything in this film is just so much more clever than anything in Sausage Party or The Happy Time Murders. Now, as I mentioned, one of the characters has a sympathetic backstory, and maybe it's just sympathetic for the fact that it's a dog and you just feel bad for it. Because really, when I think about it, it pisses me off more than anything. I'm gonna tiptoe around spoilers here because I don't want to spoil it, but are people actually like this? What happens to this dog in the film just escalates so quickly. Are there really people in real life that aren't able to give grace to these animals and go to the last option first? But again, this goes back to what I was saying about the film playing to harsher aspects of being a dog. It makes for an insanely effective emotional backstory, no doubt about that at all, but it really just puts into perspective just how much people suck. And that's why it's great Reggie's story is just so satisfying. But this was the R-rated talking dog film I didn't know I needed. It's gross and filthy as fuck, but also really sweet and wholesome. I didn't really know that combo was a thing that could exist, but then I remembered Phil Lord and Chris Miller were producers on this film. They can do the most with anything they're handed. But I can definitely recommend this film to any dog owner or pet owner in general. I hope you all enjoyed this review, and if you did, please consider hitting that like button, and if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to be notified when my next review drops. Oh, and by the way, check out the website. Until next time, I'm Quint Dunaway, hoping you will keep it cinematic.